Hi, I'm Dr. Linda, and this is the Helpful Homeschooler. I'm just giving you tips and tidbits on how to have a successful homeschool career for you and your children. Today we're going to talk about record keeping in homeschooling. Record keeping is one of the most important things for a homeschooler to have, not only for yourself, but in case a government agency comes and asks you to see your homeschooling curriculum, to see your homeschooling records. This is a lesson plan book. I borrowed it from my daughter-in-law. Both my daughter-in-laws are homeschooling. They're homeschooling moms and they're great at it. We kind of bounce ideas off of each other. Homeschooling is not an isolation thing. Sometimes it's good to hear somebody else's point of view on how they do their homeschooling. So this is a lesson plan book. You can get them almost anywhere. Amazon, of course. If you have a teacher's store where you live, sometimes Walmart even sells them. So the lesson plan book, they vary. A lot of them have a section for grades. A lot of them have in the front, they have a list of student names. Obviously, you in your homeschooling do not have 50 students. Just write what you have. If you plan ahead, you can get a lesson plan book with a grade book in it that you can use for maybe 2, 3, or 4 years, depending on how good it is, how thick it is. Look for one that's going to suit your needs. Ask yourself the questions. Do I want a separate grade book from my lesson plan book, or do I want them together? I recommend that they be together. It's a really easy fix. That way you're only keeping up with one book. Now in the lesson plan book, I'm going to put some things on the board. It is broke up in weeks, and I'll have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so here's one way. And remember, there's many ways. I do not have the only way to keep a right lesson plan book. It's whatever works well for you. So you're going to have, for instance, Monday. And if you have multiple children in multiple books, which we'll talk about in another session, how to do that, whether you want to do a PACE program or a unit study, what you're doing. We'll talk about that in another section, but let's talk about record keeping today. So you're going to put, let's say a child's name, Matthew. I understand it only has one T, that's how we spell it. And so I'm going to have Mark, Michael, and Timothy. So these were the names of my boys. They are the names of my boys. So Monday I might have English. And their names, or 1, 2, 3, 4 if I was being lazy that day, and what English book they were in, and the pages. So I put English pages 47, his English, page 49, his English, page 51. His English, page 60. This is how I would do it. So every one of them, there would be a math, there would be an English. So Monday, we would have English. I would know exactly what they were doing. Math, exactly what they were doing. Go down the line. Usually for my kids, the history and the science we would do together as a unit study. And like I said, I'll explain how to do that later. So I didn't really have to write a lot about that, just the subject I was doing. And it would be something like this. It would say science, and then I would just put a page, and then the book, because I taught from various books. The best thing to do when you're doing that is to make sure I would sit down and do 6 weeks in advance. And here's why. You never know what's going to come up. It's easier to take a day and move it than to not know what you're doing. And a lot of times I would go, okay, I want to have this much done, or I want to have this much done, and I would just take it as what I wanted to do and make sure I had enough done because I wanted to cover a certain amount of material to the end of the year. It's really easy to keep a grade book. just be very specific. Like I said, it's easier to move a day than it is to not know what you're doing. I'm going to stop for now. Homeschooling is not a sprint, it's a marathon. And it's one we do as a family. So go out there and have a great adventure.